Hello YouTubers and fellow Whovians. The following is something that I thought in all of my time as a Doctor Who fan that I'd never say ever again and never tell you all the news. And this may possibly be one of the best things to ever happen to me as a Doctor Who fan. Christopher Eccleston is returning to Doctor Who. And I'm so over the moon. Big Finish have just announced that they and Christopher Eccleston have teamed up. They're going to be releasing 4 new box sets featuring the Ninth Doctor. So we're getting all new stories with the Ninth Doctor, and Christopher Eccleston is coming back to voice the Ninth Doctor. This is the news that I've always wanted. It's something that I've dreamt of. I never thought that we'd ever get it, but here we are. We are getting the return of Christopher Eccleston to Doctor Who. Something that I thought would never happen, and a lot of other people never thought would happen. And I guess Christopher Eccleston himself, at one point, he said that he was done with Doctor Who. But recently, I suppose in the last few years, he's sort of softened towards Doctor Who. He's always made it clear that he's loved playing the role of the Ninth Doctor. I mean, you could tell that he did enjoy playing that role, and unfortunately, it was a real shame, like how he left the show in circumstances. I don't know the full picture personally. He himself has said he's had differences with people behind the scenes. His relationship with RTD broke down. And it was really bad, like what happened afterwards, after he left the show, and yada yada yada. And, you know, his relationship with the BBC, his whole relationship with people who've worked on Doctor Who, it seemed to be... It seems to be like something that couldn't be fixed. And for many years, I just thought that, he had one series. We're grateful that we've had one series. It's one of the best ever series of Doctor Who in history. It was the series that got me and many other people into Doctor Who. And I was just grateful for that. I accepted that we may never ever get Christopher Eccleston reprising his role as the Ninth Doctor in any sort of medium. But now, here we are. We are getting Big Finish stories with the Ninth Doctor. It's just been confirmed in the last few hours today. This is a day that's going to live in history for me because, well, it's something that I never thought would happen. I mean, you cast your mind back to a few years ago when Big Finish announced that David Tennant was going to come back as the 10th Doctor. I was so excited about that. Likewise, I was so excited when they announced that Tom Baker was going to be playing the 4th Doctor again for audio. But with those two, I could see they were happening. It was a pretty big deal with Tom Baker because, it was first time in decades that he played the character. With David Tennant, it was really huge news when that got announced, but it wasn't really such a huge surprise because it was very well known that David Tennant had always had a good relationship with the people at the BBC and Doctor Who, even years after he left the show. I mean, he came back for the 50th anniversary. As we all know, Eccleston never did. He never came back for the 50th anniversary. All that we've ever had of his Doctor is comic books, novels, and archival appearances within the TV show. And obviously we've had impersonations of him in the Ninth Doctor Chronicles, which Big Finish released quite a number of years ago now. But here, this is the game breaker. This is when everything changes for the first time in nearly 16 years, the Ninth Doctor will be getting more adventures, and it's going to be all on audio. And Christopher Eccleston himself has said in a brief statement, after 15 years it will be exciting to revisit the Ninth Doctor's world, bringing back to life a character I love playing. And I'm just so happy. I'm so pleased because it's something I've always wanted. I always wanted more of the Ninth Doctor. I remember being so sad to see him go. First regeneration I ever saw, and obviously I love David Tennant. I thought he was absolutely amazing. If you know me, you know that I really love David Tennant as a Doctor. The Ninth Doctor just sort of got forgotten about as soon as David Tennant became the Doctor. David Tennant became like the face of the programme. Gone was Eccleston's incarnation, and he was sort of blacklisted by the BBC, which was really, really bad. Things have gotten better since, which I'm really glad about. I'm glad for Chris himself because he had to deal with a lot of stuff, and I'm really glad, like, in the last few years he's gone to things like conventions. I had it in the back of my mind, I had like this one hope that maybe, just maybe, Big Finish could persuade him to return to the world of Doctor Who, and now it's out there. Now the news is confirmed. The chairman of Big Finish, Jason Hay Ellery, said, I first talked to Christopher about returning to the role of the Doctor at a fan convention in February this year. Christopher said he was enjoying meeting the fans and was pleased that his Doctor was remembered so fondly. I am so pleased that Christopher has decided to return to the role with us, and I'm excited to welcome him to the Big Finish family as we discover the new adventures of the Ninth Doctor. Big Finish's creative director, Nicholas Briggs, who has worked with Eccleston before, said that working with Chris was a very special time for me, the beginning of my Doctor Who TV career, so writing for and directing him feels incredibly exciting. He's such a powerful performer, and it will be amazing to work with him again. Each of the 4 volumes will be released as a 4-disc collector's edition box set or download, containing 3 brand new full cast audio adventures, plus a selection of behind the scenes extras. Well, I'm certainly getting those CDs, absolutely. As followers of my channel will know, there's been a ton of things that have come out of this very, very terrible year. As we all know, 2020 has been one of the most unusual years. It's certainly been the most unusual year of my life in 25 years of living, that's for damn sure. And it's the same for a lot of other people. A lot of other people have had some very bad times in the last few months, and Big Finish and other things have sort of softened the blow for me a little bit with all of these announcements that have been coming out left, right and centre from them, with Out of Time, with Tom Baker and David Tennant teaming up for adventures there, and obviously we've got David Tennant teaming up with River Song. We've got all this Time Lord Victoria stuff, which was planned to be much more than what I think it's actually going to be due to what's going on in the real world, which is very unfortunate. And, you know, we've had a series of Doctor Who this year, with some really good episodes, some not good episodes, but we won't talk about that. But I think that the main thing to go out of 2020 this year, as a Doctor Who fan, this is a year when Christopher Eccleston and Big Finish announced that many people's favourite Doctor, the Doctor who many people fell in love with Doctor Who with their first Doctor, their Doctor, he's coming home. He's coming back. And honestly, I couldn't be any happier. It's very emotional, you know, because this is a guy that got me into Doctor Who in a way. Christopher Eccleston is responsible for why I'm making this video, really, in the grand scheme of things. I've just been reading a few comments on social media just now, and people are obviously reacting the same as me. A lot of people are just so over the moon. I'm just over the moon, to be honest. It's quite surreal, to be honest with you. It's something that I never thought might happen. It's the best news to come out for a Doctor Who fan this year, definitely. There's a few people speculating, like, where's this going to fit in the Ninth Doctor's timeline? Because obviously, in Series 1, we've got like quite a clear beginning, middle, and end for the Ninth Doctor. People have been speculating, is it going to be before the events of Rose, where he's going to be travelling on his own, which may explain like the pictures that Clive shows Rose in that episode when he visits the site of the Titanic and he's witnessed the assassination of JFK. It could be adventures with Rose, which would be great. It would mean that Billy Piper would be on board with these audio adventures. It's not been announced, by the way, who else is going to be in these audio dramas. All we know is we're just going to be getting the Ninth Doctor adventures. It's going to be at least 4 volumes. Oh my god, I hope it's more than 4. I'd be so amazed if they did more than 4 volumes. And I think if Billy Piper was to be involved, that would be very, very nice, because obviously it was the first TARDIS team that I ever saw on television. And from what I gather, Christopher Eccleston to this day speaks very fondly of Billy Piper. He said that she's one of the best performers that he's ever worked with, and he really enjoyed working with her. And the other speculation is it could be between the Doctor dances and Boomtown, where we could get the Doctor, Rose, and Jack. That would be just... oh, just the thought of that. The thought of more stuff with Nine, Rose, and Captain Jack together. That would just be... that would be hilarious to listen to, that. Because we all know that John Barrowman, he's done quite a bit of Big Finish with the Torchwood audios, and he's got his Lives of Captain Jack box sets that have come out recently. So I'm pretty sure that if Captain Jack was in this, that would be like one hell of a ride. And obviously Billy Piper's done a couple things with Big Finish. She's done stuff with David Tennant's Doctor, the 10th Doctor Adventures, and she did the Dimension Canon, I think that's what it's called, which is like a spin-off. It's essentially the Rose Tyler Earth Defense spin-off, which got rumoured about many, many years ago after she left the show all those years ago. And I suppose one thing I'll throw out there as well, I don't know if anyone else has speculated this, it could be a period between when he left Rose at the end of Rose and then came back for her a few seconds later. He could have gone on a few adventures in all of that time, because the TARDIS is a time machine. And even in Aliens of London, he leaves for a while after he drops Rose back off, after her mum slaps him. He could have had adventures in between there, maybe, or an adventure or two. It's really good. There's a few possibilities where they could fit stuff in. I'd really love if we did get at least the Ninth Doctor and Rose. Whether it be straight away, who knows, to be honest. But all I can say is I'm just so pleased. I'm so grateful that we're getting this. I feel like my Christmas has come early. This is the best possible news to come out for me for the last few years, even as a Doctor Who fan. It's so good. I'm so hyped for this, and I cannot wait to listen to these audios. And I hate to put a dampener of things. I like Jodie Whittaker and everything, but this I am more excited for than the next series of Doctor Who. Obviously, I am excited for the next Doctor Who series to come out whenever it does, whether it's in 2021 or 22, depending on how far it gets delayed back to. But this is like it's something else, because I knew it was inevitable that we're going to get another Doctor Who series. It's something that was anticipated, but having more stuff with Christopher Eccleston, it's something that I never thought would happen. And I've gone on and on about it, as you know. It's just so surreal, to be honest with you. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to be thinking, hey, we're going to be getting more stuff with Christopher Eccleston. He's not just going to be known as that guy who did one series of Doctor Who. Much like how Paul McGann is no longer known as that guy who did that one TV movie as Doctor Who. He's done loads of audios since. Just think of the possibilities, everyone. Imagine if Eccleston really enjoyed doing these audios. We could have more fleshed out stuff with the Ninth Doctor. Something closer to what he'd like, because he felt that his character could have been a bit more funny, I guess. A bit more of a lighter side to his character, because his Doctor was seen as a gritty Doctor. His Doctor was seen as the PTSD Doctor. The Ninth Doctor is in perfectly good hands with Big Finish. I trust them, and I just know that they are going to deliver with this. So this is why I'm so excited about this. This is huge news. It's so huge, because I think back to how they fixed the Sixth Doctor and how they've just made a whole new era, essentially, for the Eighth Doctor, and even more stuff for the War Doctor. I wish we got more stuff with the War Doctor. It's so sad that John Hurt's no longer with us. It's just so good. You know, it's so... Oh. You know what? I'll have to end this video soon. So, I'll tell you what. I'll just end this by saying that I thank Big Finish for making this happen. And most of all, I want to thank Christopher Eccleston, because I wouldn't be making this video. I wouldn't be a Doctor Who fan. I would not have been carrying on watching this show for all these years later. 15 years I've watched this show, and I love every era of it. And your era is always going to be special to me, because it was your era that got me started, and it made me want more. So now we're finally going to be going back to this era, and, well, there's nothing more fitting than to say that this news is fantastic. Welcome back to Doctor Who, Christopher Eccleston. And to all of you watching this, thank you very much for tuning in. And if you haven't already, subscribe for even more Doctor Who content, including my reviews of the Ninth Doctor adventures, which shall be coming in 2021. Take care.